the next part is actually about that exact topic, which is if you're an edupreneur, you're not just creating a great educational product. You're actually learning how to start a business, you're getting investors, you're dealing with that, you're dealing with budgets and that type of thing. In my situation, I would say a huge variable is the development cost, and I learned a lot. I've actually gotten one bid already, and I'm getting another one tomorrow. I have to get 3. You know, if you're going into business, you can't just go out and get one bid. Not when you're talking about something. We're talking $200,000. That's what this is going to cost for at least. Do you know what I'm saying? We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars because it's coding, it's illustrations, it's back end because there's a reporting process, all that kind of thing. So that is one of the things we're doing is we're getting these different quotes. But as part of getting the first bid, I learned a lot about variable. So I have illustrations. You know, one of the things about my program is it's going to be very, very good for English as a second language. So as part of teaching English as a second language students, everything is illustrated in my program. I've learned from working with Hispanic students mostly, that oftentimes those kids, even if they were raised here in the United States because they spoke Spanish at home, they'll come in not knowing what a bathrobe is, they don't know what a faucet is. Do you know those types of things that a normal English-speaking kid would know? They don't know those things. So I have a lot of illustrations in my program, and I'm going to tell you something. The difference, so they move. There's some animation in this. So I'm moving, just to show you, they move, right? So I have, we teach the kids the letter B, for example, and I have this thing where I did have Bob with his baseball bat, right? And he was going like this. Okay, Bob with his baseball bat costs 3.5 times more than Bob with his basketball. Do you know why? Because Bob with his baseball bat is moving at his waist, and if you're an illustrator, you have to draw all of this. Do you see? Bob with his basketball is going like this. So I can tell you, as soon as I learned about that, Bob stopped playing baseball and he started playing basketball. And it's the same with all of my sentences. I was like, wow, what a huge difference, because it's you know, a good $20 per illustration. And if you're talking 10 illustrations, you're talking $200 for one little video. So there's a variable cost. And I really suggest when you're producing something, find out about those little things, because that's easy. That's an easy thing. Just have them play basketball, you know, whatever it is, you know, so find out those variable costs. In my program, 30% of the initial costs is illustrations. That's what it is. There's just a ton in that. So what I'm doing, I will tell you that for my first bid, I listed out every single word. It was 1,200 illustrations. I have every single word in its own Excel document, and I know exactly what I need as far as illustrations go. And I'm going to leverage those. I will tell you that the bat, you will see the bat in the later lessons as well, the later levels. You know what I'm saying? So I'm leveraging, so I have a very good index of all of those illustrations so that I can refurbish them. You know, so when I get into the FL flap, that bat's probably going to show up again because, you know, I've already paid for that bat being drawn, and now that bat's going to flap his wings. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's a very big one. Another variable cost is, of course, marketing. And you can spend a little bit of money on marketing or a lot of money on marketing. I'm going to suggest a book. So these are just some of the things that you have to do. And it sounds like this week you are doing your concept and your vision. So you've actually started that first step of concept and vision. Then you have market research. You have to find out, does this product already exist? I know mine doesn't. You're working on that, okay. Good, yeah. I know for mine, there are similar products, but what I'm doing does not exist because I really am focusing on helping those low-level kids who basically speak English as a second language because they start kindergarten with a vocabulary of 400 words. And if you know anything about preschool, if you go into kindergarten with a vocabulary of 400 words versus 2,000, that's a huge difference. So I'm really targeting English as a second language. I'm targeting kids who have a low level of English. And of course, it'll be great for all kids as well, because even if you have a lot of vocabulary, it doesn't hurt to have an illustration. It doesn't hurt to learn that. Then you have to have a business plan. You have to develop your product, work with a developer. You have to do product testing. And that was what I had mentioned earlier, is it's really important. There's something called agile development. Have you ever heard of that? I hadn't either before this year. I just learned about it in January. But basically what agile means, if you develop something in an agile environment, it means that you develop a piece of it and you use it. And then you go, this could work better. And then you develop another piece of it and you use it. And you're adjusting it all the time to what you're observing. Now, when I developed my first program, it was a paper and pencil, and it was $750,000 to print this thing. So I can tell you that once we printed it, there was so much pressure. I was so stressed because when you print it, you got it. You know, you have it. And so we did testing along the way, but it wasn't the same. You know, a lot of things have changed in the last 10 years. So now that we're doing it online, we're going to be doing testing because it is very expensive to go back and recode, but it isn't quite the same amount of pressure because it's not like you're printing it and you can always make changes. But this is one of the things. And then there's pre-launch marketing, and then there's launching. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. So this book, I just thought this would be worth showing you. This is called Traction. This is a really good book for startup companies because it gives you 19 different channels of marketing. And what it suggests that startup companies do is focus on one. And then that doesn't mean you wouldn't do other things, but those other things would lead into that one channel. So what I'm doing is I'm focusing on that one, content marketing. These are just some of them. These are not all of them. But I'm focusing on content marketing. So as part of that, my husband built me a website, and it just went live today. I actually made, just so you know, I had it go live because I wanted you guys to be able to see it. So today was my deadline. I'm like, we have to have it done by Wednesday. So it went live at about midnight last night. I was sleeping, and I got up this morning, and there it was. So if you guys go to cloud9learning.com, that's my new website, and I'll have a blog there next week. And so content marketing is basically just providing really relevant, interesting content to your readers to keep them coming back. And my goal is to have a database of 80,000 qualified, parents, teachers, that type of thing that would be interested in my product once we actually have it done and we're ready to launch. Right now I have 5,000. So you can see I have a ways to go. But the way that you get your database is outlined really well in here. And like I say, I'm doing content marketing, but I also am doing social media. So I'll have Facebook, I'll have Twitter. I actually have a Facebook page right now, but we'll be getting Twitter and YouTube and LinkedIn, those types of things. But all of it will lead to my website. And at my website, there's a contact form that people can fill out, and then they'll get free stuff, basically, because you have to give people free stuff these days. If you want them to give you their information, I'm really, really cautious about giving my people my contact information. Who here gets lots of emails? Oh my gosh, right? Tons of emails. And so I'm really cautious. You have to give me something for me to want to give you my contact information. So right now I have things that'll help parents and preschool teachers teach their kids the names and the sounds of the letters. I just hired a graphic designer, and this graphic designer made me some printables, and we're going to be making some YouTube videos, and that's the kind of stuff that we'll be giving away. So and I went to a trade show too. There's a bunch of different things. I actually just went to a homeschool trade show a few weeks ago, huge, and made lots of contacts there. And so there's different things that you can do to build up your database, but it's hugely important. And I'm going to tell you something. There are wonderful products, like wonderful, wonderful products, and I'm sure the products that you create will be wonderful, but you can have the best product in the world and it will live in your garage or in your basement if you don't put quite a lot of attention on the marketing aspect of it. And I will say that was one of the things that I didn't do as much with my first product as I'm doing with this one. I'm spending more time understanding the marketing needs and doing these user testing and that type of thing.
So that's pretty key because even in your presentation, there's a section that talks about your strategies for selling and for marketing and for distributing your own product. So that's definitely something we're going to be thinking about.
Yeah. Well, this book is terrific. This book will really get you thinking about it.
Thank you.
Yep, so there's my website. Like I say, it's actually mobile friendly. We're so excited.
Also, it's not, it's the word 9. 'Cause
Yeah, it's the word 9. Yep. Yep, the other 9 is not being used, but it's not available, sadly. I really wanted the other 9, but, well, there you go. That's one of the things you go through when you're starting a new business. You have to name it, and then you have to find a URL, and it's lots of work, so.
You're fortunate to have gotten a .com.
I know.
Mine is actually .consulting. So I am instructional solutions .consulting.
Wow. Wow, that's
But,
great.
yeah. Now you are going to look it up.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's terrific. Well, you're really in a terrific environment here. The University of Tampa really thinks outside of the box, not just in the teacher's education program, but just in general. I had the opportunity to come to the exposition in April,
Yeah.
at the New Ventures
Yes.
exposition.
So we actually are having an exposition here on Friday
Really?
where they will be showing their companies and the work that they've done this week and then sharing them to each other and the details. And you're welcome to join us.
I would love that. What time?
I think it's afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if I can, I
So
will come back.
I'll let you know. I'll text you.
Super.
Yeah.
Super. So you're in a really good environment here to start a business. There's a lot of support. There's a huge network that Dr. Moore and the faculty have put together of local businesses to support students starting businesses and all the incubators.
Yeah.
And Dr. Frank.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you, me, we can do it. You have Dr. Franco, you have a huge network here and that believes in you, so you can definitely do it. And I want to thank you very much.